we have since changed to technology. I'm still emphasizing that fact so that people are aware as to what it is that we are doing. Yesterday, unfortunately, because of time as well as timetable changes, and of course, moving from Teams to Zoom, we experienced a bit of delay in relation to time, and therefore we started quite late. Okay. I see Kanya is saying good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too, Kanya. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really happy that you are here. Gia B, welcome once more. You are always here. It's such a pleasure to have you guys and seeing you here all the time. All right. So yesterday, as I was saying, we were unable to finish technology because we started off late. So I've decided that it only makes sense that we start the lesson from scratch, and then that we are not rushing and we are all doing the same thing, and we are at par with whatever it is that is going on. So let me just move right along to the next slide. So on the previous activity, which was given on Friday, we gave people a homework or a classwork, depending on how you want to look at it. And in the homework, we're asking people to use these three types of drawings. And then they were supposed to draw a rectangular shape. So number one is what we call the freehand sketching or sketch. As you can see, welcome Witumelo, thank you so much for joining us once more. As you can see, the lines of that rectangular are not straight. This one is protruding or it's passing this one. Why is that? Because in freehand sketching, we use only a pencil. We do not use anything else. An H or HB pencil, ladies and gentlemen, it's one of the things that we spoke about in the previous activity. Please have a look at that so that you understand all the technological rules that are aligned to that, which are, I'll just mention some of the few. We use an H or HB pencil. When we measure something that is dimensioning, we use mm and not cm. So we don't use centimeters, we use millimeters. So ladies and gentlemen, those are some of the things. We spoke about protectors as well for our angles. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a look at that lesson. It's found on our YouTube page at African Teen Geeks. So the first one was a rectangle of a freehand sketch. The second one is a 3D oblique drawing. What does that mean? It means that the true shape, as I'm moving the cursor, of the object is shown, or it's directly facing the observer. Who is the observer? The observer, ladies and gentlemen, it's myself and you. So the shape of this 3D shape is this one, the front, and it's directly facing you. And what do we say? It's got three sides, because the D in 3D means dimension, and dimension is just a fancy word for size. For sides, excuse me. So that's one, that's two, that's three. So you've got your length, you've got your breadth, and you've got your width. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope we understand what we mean by 3D dimension. I'm just reading some of the messages. There is a block over your slides. Okay. Tiari is telling me that there is a block over my slides. Let me just have a look at that. I don't know if I've removed it now, Tiari. Is it gone? Welcome, Kendra. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. So awesome to see you here all the time. Hello, Tiana. How are you? Tiana was with us when we were doing Teams. I just want to find out from Tiari what is the block so that I can fix that. Okay. All right, I'm just finding out from Tiari. Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me. Okay, I see a lot of people are saying it's still there. Is it still there even now? Is it gone? Guys, I'm really sorry about this. All right, I'm hoping that it's gone now. I will continue confirming from Tiari. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so moving right along to the second question, we were speaking about the first, second, and third class levers. Please remember that in these lessons, we were simply revising term 2 important topics or aspects of technology. So that's why we are still doing this. We have not gone into term 1, not term 2. All right, so first class levers, where do we find the fulcrum? I'm just going to refer to the picture here that is going to assist us. Ladies and gentlemen, remember what I said. I said another word for fulcrum is what we call pivot. And why is that? Because the pivot or the fulcrum is the turning point of the lever. And what is a lever? A lever is a simple mechanism that assists us to do a lot of work using minimal amount of power. So that's one of the things, one of the reasons. And when we spoke about technology, we spoke about that. So in the first class lever, let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen. As we can see, the fulcrum is situated or found between the effort and the load. What do we mean by the effort and the load? So this is the fulcrum. If you look at the scissor, it's in the middle, it's the turning point. We are speaking about the first class levers. So what is the load, ladies and gentlemen? The load is what needs to be turned, it what needs to be pulled or cut. That is the load. So the load is a problem, if you may, that needs to be solved. And what is the force? The force is nothing else but the energy that you put in so that you can be able to lift the load, the force, or turn things around. Welcome, always. Thank you so much for joining us. So again, I repeat, the fulcrum is in the center in first class levers. The load is what we want to cut, to lift, or to move to the side. And then what is the applied force? The applied force is what we do, is the energy that we exert onto a device such as a scissor to cut something. So ladies and gentlemen, that's the first class levers, all right? So I want us to go to the second class levers. So the second class levers, ladies and gentlemen, is in which the load is found in between the fulcrum and the effort. If you think about a wheelbarrow, the cement or the sand that is found inside the wheelbarrow is the load itself. But where is the turning point? The turning point, ladies and gentlemen, is right here. That is our fulcrum, that is our wheel. And where is the effort or where is the force applied? It's right here in the handles of the wheelbarrow itself. When you lift it up and you are pushing the cement or whatever have you. So what are we saying? In second class levers, the load is in the middle, the effort is on your left, and of course the fulcrum is on the right. So already we are showing you the differences between first and second class. Let us quickly go to third class levers and investigate this a bit further, ladies and gentlemen. All right. In third class levers, the effort is situated in between. So that means what? It's in the middle of the fulcrum and the load. So what are we saying? So if you look at the fishing rod, ladies and gentlemen, this is the effort. Why is this the effort? Because the turning point is right here. As you are pulling, or rather as you are turning the fishing rod, because you've caught a fish, which is your actual load. Remember, the fish is the load, it's what is heavy, so that's what you need to lift up from the water, be it the sea or the river, wherever it is that you are fishing. So where is the turning point? The turning point is on your left, and of course, in the middle there, that's where we find our effort. So ladies and gentlemen, those are our first, second, and third class levers. I just want to look at the chat box and see if there are any questions so far so that I can relate to them. Remember to more than use this. Okay, Kanya, I'm not sure if I understand the question. Please kindly rephrase the question again so that I can be able to respond. Levers, Nishania, are mechanisms or mechanics, and they can come, of course, in a form of a machine. So a machine is just an example of that. Thank you so much. That is a great question. All right. Okay, so I think we can all see. So let me simply just continue. I'm glad that the box has been removed from the screen. So ladies and gentlemen, what are the objectives for today's lesson? These are the following. Number one, structures. I want us to examine or look at what structures are. Number two, I want us to speak about the classification of structures when we speak about natural and man-made structures. Number three, I want us to look at the uses or importances of structures. So again, I repeat, number one, structures. So we want to examine what are structures. Number two, we want to look at the classifications of structures, natural or man-made structures. Then number four, I want us to look at the uses or importances of structures. Let me try and reshare the screen. I don't know what is going on. I see that there are some problems in relation to the screen. Let me try to share it again. Okay, let us see. Okay, so I hope now the screen is fine, and I hope we all understand and we are all fine now. All right, please just give me a hint, Theory, on WhatsApp to say that we are fine so that I know if we are doing the right thing. Again, let me apologize. All right, so these are the questions that I want us to think about. Number one, can you think of a structure near you? As you are looking around you in your room or wherever you are, can you think of an example of a structure? That is the question that I want you to think about in number one. Number two, what makes something a structure and where do you think structures come from? So the structure that you're talking about or that you see near you, what makes it a structure and where do structures come from? And question number 3, why are structures important in our daily lives and daily routines? Sarai says a table. Well done, Sarai. I completely agree. Mahlati is also saying it's a table. You are absolutely correct. Nishenia is saying we've got examples of frame structures. And Lifa is saying a picture frame. Jackie is saying a chair. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your responses. I truly, Tiana, I apologize. It's simply written Nishenia here. I'm sorry about that. I really appreciate the interactions so that we can go. So let's look at the definition of a structure. Now remember, this is also important in natural sciences as a definition. So what is a structure? A structure is something that is built or made up or put together in a particular way to support a load. So a structure is made up or put together in a particular way to support a load. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest example for our context or our situations is a school bag. A school bag is a great example of a structure because that's where we put all our books, as heavy as they are, and our school bags makes it easier for us to be able to carry the books from one class to another or from our homes into the sports field or wherever it is that we're carrying the school bag. And of course, we've got an example of a frame structure, which tells us that structures have got examples. So again, let's repeat. A structure is something that is built or made up or even put together in a particular way to support a load, to cut something, to move something from one place or another. Now, I want us to speak about the classification of structures. What do we mean by classification? The grouping of structures. Why are we grouping structures? Because we want to know where a structure comes from and therefore what it can possibly be made up of. So the first thing is structures are, we've got structure examples that are natural. What does that mean? It means that these structures are not made or created by human beings or people. They simply come from nature. A great example of those type of structures are our skeletons, the spider webs. I said yesterday, spider webs that we unfortunately sometimes find at the top of our homes, right by the ceiling. And of course, there's trees that are outside. So those are great examples of natural structures. So let's move on to number 2. Number 2 speaks about man-made structures. Ladies and gentlemen, that defines or explains itself already. What are man-made structures? These are structures that are created or made by people, where in workshop or factories. So these are not natural. They are created by human beings, people like me and you, in workshops as well as factories. An example, a bicycle, a tent, shoes, etc. Okay, Tiana is asking if a natural human made? Okay, fine. Tiana, please try to rephrase the question. I truly apologize. Ranzu, yes, I've always asked that we try and copy the notes as they are displayed on the projector, on the screen, so that you can be able to study on your own. Yes, a bicycle, Taisha, is definitely man-made. All right. A crane is also man-made. Let me just move on to the purposes of structures. All right. So a purpose is a use or it's an importance. So what does that mean? It means, why do we need structures? Ladies and gentlemen, I was drinking juice earlier on and I was using a glass. So what does that mean? It means a glass is a great example of a use of a structure to contain or keep something inside it. So I've put in a glass there. As you can see, what is inside, that's orange juice. What is happening? The glass is containing the orange juice inside. It's enclosing it. So we have structures that contain or enclose things. That is number 1. Number 2, the use of structures or the purpose of structures is to keep something safe or to prevent it from being damaged. For an example, I've put a natural example there, which is a tortoise. Now, the tortoise shell is very useful, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very hard in terms of how it feels. And what does it do? It simply protects the tortoise from any danger. So if the tortoise can go inside the shell, there's nothing that you can do to it. The same applies to snails. So the first 2 purposes, 1, to contain, which means to keep something inside. Number 2, to protect, meaning that you are preventing danger from happening with whatever it is that you are protecting from. We go on and we continue to the last 2 purposes of structures. Number 1, to support. What does that mean? It means that you carry or hold the weight of something. The school bag that I spoke about is a great example of a structure that is used to carry the weight of something, because we are able to move from one place to another without carrying 100 books in our hands. We take them, we put them in the school bag, then we are able to go. So that's a great example of a support structure. And of course, there's a bridge, ladies and gentlemen. In grade 8, spoiler alert, you are likely to do a pet wherein you must build a bridge. So a bridge is able to carry, which means it's able to hold the load of cars, our load trucks, etc. And number 4, of course, span. Span or spanning simply means moving something from one place to another. I've put an example of a crane there, and I've done that on purpose. Why? Because in the third term, you are going to be building a crane in your pet for technology. So what does a crane do? It lifts something from this end all the way to the other end. So there's a change in direction, or there's a change in distance. What does it mean? Something has moved from one place to another. So again, I repeat, to support or hold the load. And number 4, to span. What does that mean? You are moving something from one place all the way to another place. Okay, so I want to speak about these as takeaway points, but I want to do that in a video format so that we can be able just to revise everything that we have done here today. So I've got a great video for yourselves. Please, ladies and gentlemen, shout if you cannot hear so that I can be able to adjust the audio or something. All right, but it's my hope that you will hear. I am really, really hoping that you'll hear.
Structure. A table is a structure. A chair is a structure. An egg is a structure. Our body is a structure. Our logos is a structure. Structures are all around us. Structures can be natural or man-made. Is a natural structure. Our body is a natural structure. These all have our own natural structures. Tables, furniture, hangers, pens, sharpeners are man-made structures. Thousands of animated videos of English and science.
All right, simply getting a notification from Theari that the audio is a bit slow. So let me try and increase the volume so that we can be able to hear nicely. I'm simply just trying to do that now. Please afford me a couple of minutes. All right. Let me see if it's better now.
These objects currently have many structures. Let's circle the natural structures of these structures. We have natural. Taj Mahal. No, it's not a natural structure. It's a man-made structure. Brown wood. Natural. Tree. Natural. House. No. Hills. Yes. Iceberg. Yes, a natural structure. Car? No, it's a man-made structure. Fastener? No. Sharpener? No. Mountain? Yes, it's a natural structure. River? Yes, it's too a natural structure. Spider? Yes, it's too a natural structure. Desk? No, it's a man-made structure. Dam. It's too a man-made structure. So we are done. We have circled all the images which are of a natural structure. Let's see how structures are useful for us. Functions of structures. Structures hold up or hold together the object. For example, our skeleton is a natural structure that holds up the body. It's the structure of our bones because of which we and stretch it over. And hair is a structure too. It holds up the close straight. Is a structure that helps the train to move on it to cover distance. Vertical structures are which vehicles can move to cover the distance. Bridges are structures that helps to cross over a river on a steep valley. First, we learn how structures hold up or holds together the objects like skeleton, skin, and hanger. This also helps to support the room. Now let's see how. Fishing rod. Fishing rod is a structure that supports the load. It supports the load of a fish and helps to get it out of the water. Chair is a structure that supports our load as we can sit on it. Bridge is a structure that supports load of so many vehicles. Crane is a structure that supports the load of big objects to pick them up and also move them. There is another important function of structure, and that is for looking good. Some man-made structures are made to look nice. Let's have a look at some famous beautiful structures. In Tower, Canada. Sydney Opera House, Australia. Taj Mahal, India. Stonehenge, England, Asbury. The Colosseum, Italy, Rome. Here are some more examples. For kids, let's revise what we learned. We learned that a building, the egg, the body are all structures. Structures can be man-made or natural. We learned that structures hold up or hold together the objects. Examples: our skeleton, our skin, or a hammer. Structures help to cover or cross a distance like a railroad track, roads, bridges, or a ladder. We know structures gives us shelter, like our houses, dog houses, nests, pen, or a coop. This also helps to support a load, like fishing rods is a structure that helps to support the load of a fish. Chair, bridge, crane, all are examples of structures that helps to support a load. Structures are also made of aesthetic value or looking good, like CN Tower, Canada, Sydney Opera House, Australia. So kids, now go ahead and take a listen and learn. Bye-bye!
All right, guys, thank you so much for bearing with me in regards to that video. I think I will have to play the video again because I see that a lot of people are actually asking that I play it again. This time that we use the speaker to play it for the sound. All right, I just want to respond to a couple of things. Number one, Sarai was asking us the question to say, how is a dam a man-made structure? Sarai, remember the water that comes out of the dam is the only natural resource. But the dam, Sarai, is actually a barrier that allows water to pass through from rivers and of course, from underground, etc. So the water itself is natural, Sarai. However, the dam that is being created where the water is passing through, that is a dam. And as a result, it is man-made. All right, so just some takeaway points from there. They spoke about natural structures, which I did speak about. And I said one of the greatest examples of that is actually the skeleton and of course the skin, because that keeps all the organs inside our bodies. We then spoke about the man-made structures, and we said examples of those are bicycles, are cars, of course, chairs and desks, etc. These ones are created and made by human beings. Oluetu was asking if she can be able to screenshot for her sister or brother. Oluetu, you are more than welcome to do that. But of course, as I've alluded earlier, Oluetu, you can simply go on to our African Teen Geeks YouTube channel, and you will find lessons that we've done so far, and you can be able to watch them with your sibling. I just want to see if we have any other questions. Okay, So they spoke about structures as a means or purposes to contain. That means to keep something inside or protect it. And that's the second part. So what are you protecting it from? From the damage that may come. And we spoke about, for an example, the tortoise shell. However, our houses, ladies and gentlemen, are also an example of a structure that protects us. From what? From the weather, which may be harsh. It's also protecting us from maybe criminals that might want to come in. But also you realize that there is actually a connection between containing as well as protecting. But it differs from structure to structure, because you might find that a structure contains and as a result protects, or vice versa. So that's also important for us to note. The other purposes that were spoken about in the video are number one, to support, that is to carry a load of something, the chairs that we are sitting on, or the bed that we are sitting on right now, or the couch, etc. Those are supporting the load. What is the load? The load is me and you. And of course, we speak about structures that span. That means moving something from one place to another. So those are some of the purposes. I just want to see if I can play the video, connecting it to the external speaker. Please allow me a couple of seconds so that I can be able to do that, because that's also very important. Okay, please just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, as I quickly find the connection. Amanda is asking, how is an egg a natural structure? An egg is a natural structure because there is no one that creates an egg, Amanda. So it's natural, it comes from nature. What does it protect? It protects the egg itself that you find inside. So obviously your yolk and everything that we eat. So an egg shell is in fact a natural structure. Thank you so much. Mahlati is asking if a cup is a frame structure. Mahlati, I'm sorry to say, no, it is not a frame structure. It is actually what we can call a shell structure. But tomorrow, when we have our lesson, we will divulge more on that when we talk about the types of structures. A tree is also an example of a structure. Very good, Witumelo. But a tree is what we call a solid structure. Again, we are going to talk about that tomorrow. All right, I seem to have succeeded. Let me quickly connect and share our screen so that we can be able to play that video one last time. Welcome again. It seems that the external Bluetooth device speaker that I've connected is not playing on your end. So we will unfortunately have to use the video audio that I'm playing from my device. I am really sorry about that.
Structure. So we are done. We have circled all the images. We have structures that are useful for us. Functions of structures. Structures hold up or hold together the object. That holds up the body. It's the structure of our bones because of which we can stand, walk, and sit. Is a structure that helps the train to move on it to cover distance. Roads are structures on which vehicles can move over the distance. Bridges are structures that helps to cross over a river or a steep valley. First, we learn that structures goes up or close together the object like skeleton, skin, and ligament. Structures also helps to support the load. Now let's see how. Fishing rod. Fishing rod is a structure that supports the load. Bridge is a structure that supports the load of so many vehicles. Crane is a structure that supports the load of big objects to pick them up and also move them. There is another important function of structure, and that is for looking good. Some man-made structures are made to look nice. Let's have a look at some famous beautiful structures. The entire Canada. Sydney Opera House, Australia. Taj Mahal, India. Stonehenge, England, Iceland. The Colosseum, Italy, Rome. Here are some more examples. For kids, let's revise what we learned. We learned how to building, the earth, the early capital structures. Structures can be man-made or natural. We learned that structures move up or press together the object. Examples, our skeleton, our skin, or a hair. Structures help to cover or cross a distance like a railroad track, roads, bridges, or a ladder. We learn structures give us shelter, like our houses, dog houses, nests, pen, or a coop. Structures also help to support a load. Like fishing rods is a structure that helps to support the load of a fish. Chair, bridge, crane. All are examples of structures that help to support a load. Structures are also made of aesthetic value or looking good, like CN Tower, Canada, Sydney Opera House, Australia. So kids, now go ahead and take a quiz to learn more. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you so much. I really hope that video assisted us. Let us continue with our lesson. Okay, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient. I know that the video at times was not the best in terms of audio clarity, but I hope that you saw that, for an example, a crane is a structure that lifts a load, but at the same time moves a load from one place to another. So a lot of that actually happens, ladies and gentlemen. And when we do an activity on the next slide, you are going to see that being the case. I just want to go to the chat box so that I can answer some of the questions that are there. All right. Okay, let me try and zoom so that you can be able to see. We are finishing Kanya in about 10 minutes. Don't worry, are you already bored? All right, so this is what we are looking at as a matter of activity. This is very important, guys. So please, again, I am asking and pleading with you, please let's try to do these activities. These activities are going to assist us when the exam time or test season comes. Very important. So this is the instruction. You study the following table of a structure, and then you decide on each based on its characteristics. So for example, we've got a chair. So you will tell us whether a chair spans. If it spans, you tick that it spans. Is a chair natural or man-made? If it's natural, ladies and gentlemen, you tick there. So you do that for the chair, for the bird's nest, for the tent, aeroplane, and of course, the spider web. So that's what we are going to be doing. So please, you are welcome, Kia. I really am glad that you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for that comment. So let's try to screenshot this conversation. Let me leave it here for a couple of minutes so that you can be able to screenshot or write down notes if you have to, whatever you need to do so that you can be able to have this activity tomorrow when we do our last lesson for the weekend. So again, very simple. You just look at it and you decide what is the purpose of a chair. What does a chair do? If a chair protects you from rain, you tick on rain, of course. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, that's not a correct answer. Then you decide on the classification. Is a chair natural or man-made? You do that for all of those answers. And again, like I said, you will find that there are structures that serve two or more purposes. If that is the case, do not be hesitant of ticking on both spaces. And remember, when we are doing these activities or we are talking about what we've been doing for the past 4 weeks, again, thank you so much to everyone who's been here. Remember to hashtag lockdown is school so that we create an entire buzz about this and we get as many people as we should be getting on the basis of how great this project is. So again, let's just take down notes or a picture of this so that we can be able to do this activity. All right. I hope we are finishing there. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, these are the links that were used in relation to the preparation of this lesson. The most important one is the one that is at the top. That is www.ukuqonda.org.za. Ladies and gentlemen, this one takes you straight to the PDF version of the technological book, which was actually done and also funded by the Sasol Foundation, which is also funding this great project. So if you get this PDF, I assure you, technology will not give you a problem. This is a book from term 1 to term 4. It's got great activities, explanations, illustrations, etc. And of course, these are the other two. So this one, for the duration of our technology classes, I will always have it at the top so that you can be able to have a look at it. So what are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow, we are looking at the different types of structures. We have spoken about the classification of structures, that we have natural, we've got man-made. We have also spoken about the uses of structures, the 4 uses. What are the uses of structures and why they are important? So now we need to go into the actual types of structures so that we can be able to learn them. Thank you so much, Jackie. I really appreciate you saying this was a useful lesson. I also truly enjoyed it. Thank you so much. It was also fun for me. Kanya, thank you. See you tomorrow. Remember, our time has changed. We are no longer at 3 p.m. We are now at 12 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a great day and enjoy your English class, which is coming up next. So this is where you can find us. My name on Facebook is Shanti Songo. And of course, you can find us at African Team Geeks on all social media platforms, including YouTube, as I've said, and of course on the website at Izora at DBE_SA at Sasol SA, which I spoke about in relation to that important PDF book. And of course, when we are speaking and telling our friends about this initiative, please remember to hashtag us at Sasol Foundation, at STEM Champions, and of course at the Lockdown is School, which has been happening for the past 5 weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves and take care of those around you. I will see you guys tomorrow at 12 p.m. sharp. Goodbye and thank you.